Is Leon Edwards shot? Is Leon Edwards a fraud? We'll be answering those questions. I'm Feño from the fight side, and this is the Early Prelim podcast. Coming at you on a Monday afternoon. Quite unusual. But yeah, we're here to talk about the UFC. We had a UFC event last Saturday over in London, England. Headlined by Leon Edwards against Sean Brady. We'll be talking about that. We'll be talking about a few fight announcements, and we'll get into our next event, which surprisingly is not an Apex event. It's another on the road event at Mexico, so that could be interesting. But let's get into what we came to talk about. Let's talk about Leon Edwards first. Let's talk about the fight first. So, Leon Edwards, former UFC welterweight champion, very highly regarded by the part of the internet that you guys are probably part of if you listen to my podcasts. And Sean Brady, up-and-comer grappler, who's finally putting it together, and especially he has been looking a lot better after losing to current champion Belal Muhammad, who was the guy who dethroned Leon Edwards. Before the fight, I made a very short video about the secret weapon that Leon Edwards has against wrestlers, and I was talking about how clinching in open space would be like a great idea for Leon Edwards. Instead of conceding so much ground, getting trapped against the fence, I was talking about how Leon Edwards should just clinch in open space. Use his footwork in there, attack quickly, reposition, that kind of stuff. And to my credit, Leon Edwards tried it a few times, and it mostly worked. So I would say I was not wrong with my suggestion, but okay, let's less talk about me and more talk about the fight. So, very close first round. Sean Brady was able to get top position with a foot sweep off the clinch in open space. I gotta recognize that in a sequence where they were clinching against the fence first. Other than that, Brady had the volume during the round, but I felt like Leon Edwards had the cleaner connections. I scored that round at 10-9 for Edwards. No one in the media seemed to agree with me, to be honest. But I mean, they usually go for takedowns and volume instead of like damaging shots that I thought Leon was landing. Second round, Brady just goes through it, pushes Leon to the fence, gets a takedown, controls the whole round. Third round, Leon kind of gets his composure back, but then he shoots a takedown. And Brady's a monster from the front headlock, man. That was a bad idea for Leon. I can understand it, Leon is a danger from top position, so we saw that against Kamaru Usman, so. But was not the case, was not a good shot, was not well set up. He was doing good work from the open space clinching. And then on the fourth round, Brady just takes over. Leon gets submitted with a signature, top half guillotine from Brady. A great choke. Very good performance by Brady. As I said on Twitter, nothing bad that I can say about Brady, really. He has been improving his wrestling and his striking. His grappling, we know he's a monster. He has been looking more conditioned. He has been, keeping a higher output in this fight. He's not getting tired. So, it seems like he learned all the right lessons after that Belal Muhammad lost. And so now let's talk about Leon. Is Leon Edwards a fraud? No, I would not say so. Is he washed? Is he shot? That's another question entirely. And I think that mentally he kind of is. I was talking on Twitter about how Brady has been thriving as of late, especially since that Belal Muhammad lost. He has been looking better than before. And that's because he's so focused. He knows what his winning condition is. He gets people down. If he doesn't get people down, we saw against Gilbert Burns, he has plan A and plan B. He uses the threat of the takedown, he pushes people against the fence, and he puts volume on the feet. He knows where he wins the fights. He sticks to the game plan. Leon Edwards, in that sense, is like too good for his own good. Leon Edwards wants to do everything in fights. He wants to really like compete with you. We saw that like he was willing to wrestle with Kamaru Usman. He was willing to wrestle with Colby Covington. Sometimes it works to his advantage, but excuse me, there's a lot of like cat hair in my office. I have a lot of cats, and yeah, that's why I'm messing with my nose sometimes because it gets in like there. But yeah, let's get back to Leon. Leon Edwards, like, he needs to show you, the opponent, how better than you he is. He's like not confident. He's okay with winning on points, but he's happy when he wins on points, but at the same time showing you that he can do everything that you can do and he can do it better. I feel like he has that kind of mentality. I don't know if it comes from insecurity or overconfidence. I will not play like armchair psychologist over here, but I feel like it's that like Leon Edwards has. It's weird because you don't associate Leon with like being a guy that particularly has dog in him. Except for like the head kick knockout that won him the title, right? But he has that competitive edge to him. He wants to one up you in every phase. He wants to compete everywhere, and something that it's like very clear to me, and that's like getting into armchair armchair psychology territory. After I just said that I won't do it, but I feel like Leon is an overthinker. He has many options. He has developed like a large number of skills in different phases of MMA. He has like decent depth to all of them. He's not just like a bag of tricks. He's like a very well put together fighter skill wise. But I feel like he just never does. He just never knows what to stick with and what route to take fights. I feel like he had a very good performance in the Kamaru Usman rematch to defend the title. You could say that was not like prime Usman, but hey, Usman, months later after losing the title, went to be like the second fighter in UFC history to have a competitive fight with Hamza Chimaev, and he did so in like 10 days notice, up a weight class, while he was controlling his way to be a welterweight. You know, like, Kamaru Usman is a very big welterweight, but he has to be in a range to make welterweight. He was in that range, you know? And he fought Chimaev that knows that he's fighting at middleweight. In a fight that I personally felt like you can score for Usman, or as a draw. So yeah, I mean, Usman, like, not in his prime maybe when he lost to Leon Edwards, but still a very good fighter. And Leon Edwards, he fought a decent fight, like, with a decent game plan, and Leon Edwards put on a very great performance, in my opinion. Winning every round, he got a point deduction from grabbing the cage. But yeah, I mean, it was a very good performance. He was, like, the gatecraft was looking better than ever. He was aware, he was initiating clinches, he was using his tools to reposition himself, to not find himself in the positions that he didn't want. And while he was against the fence, he was like very focused in attacking the modus operandi of Usman. And he has not been that fighter since. We saw against Colby a mess of a performance by Leon. It's just that Leon Edwards was so much better than Colby Covington that he felt like he could do whatever. And he kind of did. Like, he had like one bad moment in the fight where he ended up on bottom position at the end of the fifth when he had the fight in the back. Colby Covington had nothing for him from top position, so... But still, like, you can tell that it was like Leon Edwards, like, just trying too much stuff for his own good when he had like a cleaner path to victory. And then against Belal very bad selection of tactics, using the high elbow cross guard to defend, and that exposed him to takedowns, that exposed him to uppercuts. He was not adapting, and still he found some moments of brilliance in that fight. I felt like Leon Edwards fought not a good first round, but he was doing good work on that first round. I still insist that you can score that first round for Leon Edwards. Then he had that third round when he took the back of Bilal. And then on the fifth, getting the late reversal, landing huge ground and pound at the end of the fight, opening up Bilal Mohammed. So he had his moments, even in a performance that was perceived by most as a very bad one, right? And now in this one, he had some good moments, especially like clinching open space, some right ideas. But it looked like the takedowns were like very deflating for him. It was like, and obviously credit to Brady, because one thing is to find takedowns, but Leon has shown the ability to get back to his feet like a number of times, and Brady was not having any of that. Brady is a very high level grappler, and he's like turning into one of the premier MMA grapplers from top position, who is like finding the right balance between smothering and dangerous, and I feel like that's great for him. But yeah, looking back at Leon, I feel like Leon has like the big moment, the head kick that won him the title. He had the very big, like very long win streak before that, where it looked like he was like having trouble finding the competition, man. Like kind of getting bored during fights. We saw like him like, but we saw glimpses of him like losing the side of the ball, like we saw against like when he got rocked by Nate Diaz. And so yeah, I mean, how good is Leon Edwards at the end of the day? I feel like skill for skill, when Leon Edwards shows up, he's still one of the better MMA fighters we've ever seen. He's so skilled in so many different areas. I won't deny that just because he has been like exposed in these few fights. And I'm speaking obviously as a Leon fan here. I'm just not saying that, oh, if this was like prime Leon Edwards, he would have beat Brady. Because like this is a bad matchup. And Brady fought a very good fight. And that's the big problem with Leon, that can you trust Leon to fight the right fight, to win the complicated matchups? And he was able to in the Kamaru Usman rematch, but he didn't have the consistency. He won most of the fights of his career, being like so much better skill-wise and athletically than his opponents, that he was finding the ways, even when he was conceding ranges, when he was taking the fight to places that he shouldn't. We saw that in the Colby Covington fight. We saw that against like Rafael Dos Anjos, which was a very good performance, but he was still like allowing Dos Anjos to a lot of the times get the fight that he wanted. But then like Leon was bigger in the clinch, he was competitive inside the clinch, he was able to get his way. So I feel like I have probably overrated Leon Edwards as one of the best martial artists of all time, in a sense. But I still feel I will defend his skill set and his prime athleticism as like potentially one of the best. But he could have been so much more, I feel. That's my final assessment on Leon Edwards. Is he completely washed? I mean, physically he looked pretty good here. He was strong in the clinch when it you guys gotta understand that Brady is like, obviously Brady's very, very strong. But he's also like very good technically on the ground. That's why he gets to look so strong, because he's like putting you in positions where you are weak, and he on top of that is very physically strong. So, but when they were clinching open space, it's not like Brady was easily muscling up Leon Edwards. Leon still looked fast, a lot faster than Brady, more accurate on the feet. So physically, I still think like Leon Edwards has some in the tank. But it's mentally what concerns me. It's like that he's losing focus, he's overthinking, he's not taking it well to losing. Yeah, losing is not something that he's used to, and I don't think he's taking it well. A very bad attitude after losing the title against Bilal, and it looked like he was looking like very frustrated and salty, understandably so after this fight. So Do I have my hopes up for a Leon Edwards comeback? Not really, man. And it sucks to say because like Leon Edwards, maybe not always the most exciting fighter, but always like very cool to watch to nerds like me. I would say that. What's next for Brady? I would say like Shafkat maybe. If Shafkat is not getting like immediately the title shot, or if not, give him like Ian Gary. Some people were saying Buckley too, but I don't know, man. You know how I feel about it. I feel like Buckley's interesting against Brady in particular, because he would be the better striker and he's like so strong and dynamic that he might be able to defend takedowns if he's like very focused on that. So maybe that's an interesting fight. But I don't think like Buckley should be in the same conversation as Brady. Like beating like a watch up Colby Covington that has been looking terribly as of late. I don't think should amount to much, to be honest. I think that this win over Leon means a lot more than Buckley's win over Colby, to be quite honest. But yeah, that's my take on Leon Edwards. What do you guys think? Let me know. Let me know in the comments if you're watching on YouTube. And for Brady, I'm very impressed. Not really a fan, to be honest. Like I don't like this style of fighting, especially the striking. Like kind of irks me. But I will never deny that he's very good, and this was a very well earned win. Don't my Leon Edwards like talk and me defending Leon as an all-time fighter and all of that give you the wrong impression that I'm making excuses for him, because that this was Sean Brady winning this fight because Sean Brady is fucking good. This was not like Leon losing because like, oh, he messed up, my poor baby. Nah, no, it wasn't Leon to fight a good fight. And he fought a decent fight. Like I was impressed that he was looking for the open space clinches, and Sean Brady still won the fight. So yeah, I mean Sean Brady, a very good fighter, man. Let's move on quickly to the rest of the card. Co-main event saw Carlos Ulberg for Jan Blachowicz. I wanted Ulberg to do well here so the division can move on. You know that Jan, as great as he has been for these like dark times of the light heavyweight division, he doesn't have a lot in the tank. This fight showed that Carlos Ulberg decided to have like a super slow 50-50 fight with him, and that's so disappointing, man. Personally, I scored the first 2 rounds for Jan, and I scored the third for Ulberg. I feel like he landed a few clean right hands, a decent left hook here and there. But yeah, I mean, a lot of like leg kicks. Both guys like not committing too much. For Jan, it's more understandable, but I still think he didn't fight like a great fight, even though I think he won. Like you cannot like leave it up in the air. Both guys should have looked for bigger moments in this fight. So yeah, Carlos Ulberg moves up in the division, but I'm not super excited about it. I wanted him to be better, to be honest. Still think that Ulberg is maybe like interesting against Ankalaev, because like he looks very athletic and very hard to take down. So we'll see. Kevin Holland fought Gunnar Nelson. Holland just like size bullying this poor man. I think Gunnar won the third. He had like a triangle attempt that was like kind of close, not really, but yeah, Holland just beating on a. I mean, Nelson is only like 36, but he has been injured a lot. He hasn't been very active, and sometimes that's good, sometimes that's kind of bad. I don't think Nelson looked anywhere near prime. But good for Holland, and I think like 170 is his actual division where he can do stuff. So good for him. Alexa Tainara took the fight on short notice against Molly McCann, and she just like ran through her. Molly McCann retired after the fight. And that apparently gave the pass to a lot of guys to be like assholes on the internet. Like, to be quite honest, like, am I like a huge Molly McCann fan? Not really. I thought she did put on some pretty decent scraps here and there. Some were not like very good, but was she like kind of annoying personality wise, and was she overhyped because of her connection to Paddy Pimblett? Sure, but I would not like insult a person over that. That's just me personally. Chris Duncan fought Jordan Vucenic, and like people were so horny about Vucenic, and I think like he's kind of cool to be honest. But they were so disrespectful to my boy Chris Duncan here. But as some wise man said, man, don't be silly, jump the gilly. Duncan has a legit guillotine, man. Vucenic with a bad shot, just like Leon Edwards, and gets stabbed by the Scotsman here. Great stuff for Duncan. Duncan was aggressive. He was like sonning this dude, like not like beating the shit out of him, but he was like the dad in this fight. You know what I'm saying? Like he was tough. He was striking hard. He was getting into his face. He was like landing big round pound from top position. He was the dad in this fight. Like Vucenic, you have been sunned by Chris Duncan. Vucenic like not making an impact, especially because his first loss like aged pretty bad. We get to that later. Nathaniel Wood and Morgan Charrier had the second best fight of the card. The first rounds were very cool, and then on the third one they decided to massively dial it up. And with that I mean like having like very low volume and not taking chances, and just like, okay, this is a 50-50 round, who cares? But yeah, I mean, both guys are very cool, but they clearly need to be fighting like someone that is going to push it, and they were not that third round. I'm still a big fan of Nathaniel Wood. Very happy that he won that fight. Charrier will put on like cool fights for the UFC for a long time, I feel. Chris Padilla fought Jai Herbert. I have not watched this one. I was making lunch and I was like kind of watching, and I was kind of surprised that Padilla got it, but I could not tell you much about this fight. Lonnie Kavanagh had the fight of the night, in my opinion, against Felipe Detona, Felipe Dos Santos. Lonnie here looking kind of lost on that first round. But then he came back more aggressive, trying to find clinches, finding takedowns, and looking very solid from top position against a shooter box guy. And that was very impressive. And that was a very good sign for Lonnie Kavanagh as a prospect. I'm sold on this kid now. And I wasn't that sold before, man. I made a very short video talking about this. You can check it out in the Fenio TFS channel on YouTube. So I put links in the description for that. Go check that one out. Marcin Tybura fought Mick Parkin in a fight between like pretty decent heavyweights. I thought Mick Parkin won this one, to be honest, but it was weird that it was a unanimous decision though. Christian Riro Duncan continues to be like the most dynamic guy that is kind of boring in the world. Like he goes for flying knees, spinning elbows. He goes for big strikes inside the clinch. And for whatever reason, it doesn't click with me, man. Shauna Bannon fought Puya Tomar. They had a hilarious fight because Puya Tomar... First, Shauna Bannon was like keeping her at bay with like the taekwondo like knee lift, attacking with the side kicks and that stuff, and she was like pressuring with that. Second round, Tomar gets more aggressive, gets on her face, lands a head kick like flush, like shin on shin connection. She didn't put a lot of it in the kick. Like it wasn't like the hardest kick ever, but it was like such a clean connection. Shauna Bannon fell to the ground. Fight was over, man. Tomar tried to seal the deal with ground and pound. Referee did not stop the fight. That gave it Shauna the opportunity to get back into the fight. She finds an armbar. Puya Tomar is pulling first. According to commentary, the elbow was out of the danger part of the armbar, and she decided to stack, and she put her elbow back inside the armbar, and she got submitted, man. India also lion, my sir. India also lion. Kaylan Logran fought Nathan Fletcher. This looked like a very jacked 8 years old against a jacked like 13 years old. These guys are my size. Why am I making fun of them? It was a solid scrap. Good for Kaylan. He looked pretty decent here. Fletcher is also solid. It was a solid fight. Could have gone either way. It was a split decision. And the opener was like the sad hours. Like for sure, man. Guram Kutateladze fought Cowboy Fernandez. And Kutateladze is not like even... He's not even the shadow of his former self, man. He's so shot. He's like super gun shy. He's looking like kind of frail physically. He's not himself, man. And this was one of the classics of MMA. Cowboy Fernandez got to dominate the fight and still didn't look good, in my opinion, at least. He kicks very hard, but every time that Guram tried to make something happen, like it looked like a fight out of someone. Like why are you allowing him like back into the fight, right? He also very concerning that Cowboy was not able to find the finish here. He had like Guram very hurt to the calf since the very first round, so I don't know. I'm not sold on Cowboy Fernandez. And that was the event. Was it good? Like, not really. I had higher expectations about this, I guess. If you want to rewatch any fight here, Lonnie Kamana versus Lipe Ditona, Nathaniel Wood versus Charrier, Duncan versus Busenich was fine too. And that was it, man. Let's get into some fight announcements. We don't have many. Rose Namajunas is fighting Miranda Maverick. Apparently this is not a main event. But yeah, this fight is apparently confirmed. Maverick is like interesting for Rose because like she's not tall and she's like a road striker who doesn't pack like huge power, so and is particularly not super scrappy inside the pocket, so Rose looks to have a lot of advantages on the feet. But then Maverick is like not a huge 125er, but she is strong. She's strong. And if she gets top position, Rose, I don't know. I mean, Rose has been more of a grappler as of late, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. It seems like a decently interesting fight. Alonso Menifield, after welcoming the Juice Box to the UFC, he's fighting now. Is this guy Omar Sy? Is Omar Sy? Yeah, excuse me. Salih Busai is that guy that I hate that fought on the PFL. Yeah. Very good matchmaking actually. I like this. There's solid matchmaking. Salih Busai, man. I mean, Omar Sy. Oh my god. But yeah, Omar Sy has been looking like tremendous, even though I'm not a huge fan, but he's like obviously like a big guy, athletic, with very solid top position game, with strong takedowns. And Menifield, man, he's scrappy, he's well-rounded, he's very physical. So this is a very good test to see where Omar Sy is at. And if he wins here, like I just say like put him in a big fight. And let's see if he can go into title contention. Like just do it, man. I would say that. Paul Craig, he's back at 205, and he's fighting Rodolfo Bellato. I feel like Bellato is going to fuck him up, right? It feels like that. I don't know. Does Paul Craig have a lot left in the tank? I'm not sure, man. I felt like he looked okay at 185, but I feel like he does better being the big guy. So we'll see. What else we have? Loma Lukbumi against Estela Nunes. Mayera Loma was supposed to fight Ariane Carnelossi. That was like a pretty easy fight for her, I felt, and Estela Nunes is kind of the same. I mean, I'm glad because like Loma Lukbumi is very fun to watch, styling on people, but at the same time, I want her to progress her career. By the way, just make a 105 division so we can get like Loma being champion, please. What else we have? Johnny Walker is fighting Murzakanov. Asamat Murzakanov. So Murzakanov is entering this contest that we have at 205, where people are trying to get like the most hilarious knockout over Johnny Walker. The title currently belongs to Jamal Hill, who had like the fucking Looney Tunes knockout. Fantastic, one of the greatest ever. But we have seen some contention in the UFC because like Johnny Walker has been offering funny knockouts to the world from a very long time. But since the UFC, the Corey knockout was funny, but it was like standing TKO, so But it was funny. He was tumbling all over. But I feel like the greatest like run for the money that Jamal Hill has had, where the Ankalaev and the Volkan Oezdemir both were so funny. But man, I just gotta give the title to Jamal Hill. Like the Looney Tunes shit, that you cannot win over that. We'll see if Murzakanov gets a very funny knockout for the ages on this one. I think he will, by the way. And this one is a banger, man. Just some of you guys might not even know it. Hyun Sung Park is fighting Carlos Hernandez, and I'm telling you, I've been on a flyweight like run of like saying, "Oh, this flyweights very cool, man." We have my boy Mascochi, we have Lonnie Kavanagh this win, Hyun Sung Park, and Hernandez is like my boy, man. So this is like boy on boy violence, and I think it's going to be a very good fight. So excited about this. Those are all the fight announcements. This was not a super busy week. So let's get into this next Mexico event. We have Steve Erceg and Brandon Moreno on the main event. Interesting fight, very interesting. I feel like Moreno has seen better days, but he might be interesting for Erceg. Moreno has a very long jab. He has a good left hook inside. And he knows how to punish like linear retreats. That's something that has been a problem for Erceg. We saw against Guy Kara-France. So there are avenues there. Moreno, obviously a very good grappler. And Erceg is like very scrappy as a grappler. He's very strong because he's very big, but he has some flaws as a wrestler. So Moreno might be able to find some body locks. It's a very interesting fight. If Erceg wins this one, like he's back at it. I'm not sure if Erceg is going to make flyweight for very long though. He's fucking huge, man. Our co-main event has Manuel El Loco Torres, the guy who lost all his aura, getting like slapped around by Ignacio Bahamondes. He's fighting Drew Dober, and even though Bahamondes like spanked Manuel Torres around, I feel like this is not free for Drew Dober, especially because like he's obviously like out of his prime right now. He's a bit slower. He's not as sharp technically either. Manuel Torres is a dangerous, crazy man. If Dober is not able to like find the shin early and put him out, Manuel Torres might find some bullshit because that's the kind of fighter that he is. We have a fight at 185. Kelvin Gastelum is back at middleweight for whatever reason. He doesn't want to diet. He's back at it. He's fighting Joe Pyfer. Joe Pyfer is fucking huge. He hits hard. He hits harder than Francis Ngannou, apparently. And I don't know what to expect of this fight, to be honest. It's whatever. Like, it's hard to get invested in 2025 Kelvin Gastelum, to be honest. And Joe Pyfer is what it is. But he's solid. He's solid technically, and he's like clearly very athletic. So he's obviously one of the best middleweights in the world. Raul Rosas Jr. is fighting Vince Vendetta Morales. This one is interesting because Morales is a very good grappler, and you know that what Rosas does. But I feel like Rosas is the superior athlete and wrestler. Morales might get a good third round, but I think he's probably going to lose this one, and that kind of sucks because like Morales is cool. He's always in action fights. He will be like 0-3. In this like second UFC run after losing this one, so he's probably getting cut for good. That kind of sucks. David Martinez is fighting Simon Oliveira. Ronaldo Rodriguez is fighting Kevin Borjas. That should be a banger. I feel like Kevin Borjas is a lot better than Ronaldo Rodriguez, but I cannot trust my boy Kevin Borjas, man. He's a bit of a head case. He's not putting it together in the UFC. And Ronaldo Rodriguez is like a Dricus du Plessis kind of guy. He just tries very hard, man. He's very limited, but he finds stuff that works and he keeps doing it, and he tries very hard and has good cardio, so probably a fight for Rodriguez. Edgar Chairez is fighting CJ Vergara. This should be a banger, but I do not trust CJ Vergara anymore. I feel like Chairez is probably going to win this one. Ateba Gautier from Cameroon, I think, is fighting Jose Medina at middleweight. Jose Medina, you know, the Bolivian guy that got his ass beat on Contender Series, got signed to UFC. Debuted at middleweight instead of like heavyweight because he finally like try to take his diet more seriously, and got his ass beat by Zach Reese like super bad in another fight that was kind of embarrassing for the winner. So Nike Costa is back in action like super quick against my boy C-Rod Christian Rodriguez. Excited about this one. I'll be posting clips about C-Rod for sure. Julia Polastri is fighting Lupita Godinez. Rafa Garcia is fighting Vince Pichel. That one kind of rocks because Pichel has like a good takedown defense and Garcia is like a scrappy wrestler. But Garcia, if he has to scrap on the feet, he will. And if he mix it up on the insides against Pichel, he might be able to find takedowns. And Pichel is getting up in age, so Jamal Emers is fighting Gabriel Miranda. And the opener has Austin Hobart against Markel Medeiros. He was supposed to fight Sel Hoover, man. And the original fight was Sel Hoover versus Brenner. So we have a completely different fight. But Austin Hobart is cool. You know, I like to watch him fight. And that's it with the podcast, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate you guys. Remember that if you want to support me, you guys head over to Patreon. For a little bit of money, you get access to a lot of exclusive content, and I've been posting more as of late. So, if you want like your weekly content, you now can get it on Patreon. Head over to that, and obviously the backlog is huge. So check it out, try it. If you don't like it, you can always unsubscribe. And the Discord server is very cool too. Head over to my other YouTube channel, the Fenyo TFS one. I've been posting a lot of shorts if you want like highlights and that kind of stuff. And also like these short videos to keep you guys with more content flowing. Remember to head over to the store and get some merch. Remember the body punching t-shirt, the pivots don't work in MMA, the Dodge combo, you can find all of that. And I get a little bit of that, and you get a piece of clothing in return. And that's it for the takedown, as I already said. I'm Fenyo from the fight side. I'll catch you guys during the week, and I'll try to do Fight Companion this weekend. I'll try to get another laptop to stream the fights from there so my computer doesn't collapse. Sorry about the Fight Companion last week. I'll try to get that sorted out. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.